All right, so today we're talking about the Second Industrial Revolution. It began in 1922 and ended up lasting until 1929, when the stock market crash happened, is kind of when it ended. The year 1927 was when it had its biggest peak. And during this time, American output really doubled, um, and the GDP rose by 40%. So just the economy was kind of booming, and it was mainly because of consumer goods and technology and all the advances in technology in America. And also in this, the per capita rose by 30%. And so a lot of Americans were making $681 on average in 1929. Some of the technology that kind of was created was the moving assembly line, which was pioneered by Ford. And this just kind of helped create cars a lot faster. Also, electric motors replaced steam motors in a lot of industries. And a lot of them had electricity now, so 70% were powered by electricity. And so a lot of companies were able to produce 2 times the amount of goods in 1929 than 1919, but still have the same amount of workers because of all the technology that they had. The auto industry was the largest in the 1920s, and because of the assembly line and everything, they were able to go from making 2 million cars a year to 5 million. And it kind of ended up being an unsteady thing just because they could only sell as many cars that people don't have, and many people could only afford one car. So when they had it, they didn't really need to buy another one for a long time. So the market kind of dropped as people had more cars. So it was a very unstable thing. However, it did lead to more steel and rubber factories. So it kind of led to an increase a little bit in jobs because of those factories. It also led to more of a suburban life because of all these huge companies. Also, a lot of homes had a lot more electricity in them. 2/3 of Americans had electricity in their house. Because of this, consumer goods sold a lot faster, like vacuums and refrigerators and things like that. Stockholders grew, and there's 8,000 mergers. There's 8,000 mergers in the 1920s, and it also led to an increase in marketing. However, because of all of these industries, other industries decreased. There was a lot less of a need for railroads and coal industry and cotton, just because of different industries. The cotton industry decreased because of the rayon industry, and they were able to produce things for a lot cheaper than cotton. And all these things kind of expanded in World War One. Agriculture specifically expanded in World War One because they needed to produce food that would go overseas. But then in 1919, there was a lot of cutbacks because we weren't producing anything for Europe anymore. And there wasn't really a need for any new middle class jobs. So a lot of people didn't have any source of income. It was just lower class jobs that expanded. And then the only ones that thrived really in the 1920s was the middle and the upper class. And the problem with that was they invested heavily in the stock market, thinking that they would get more money, and then because of the crash, most Americans lost all their money. It definitely led for a growth of consumer-based industries, which was a really good thing for the U.S., but it also led to unequal distribution of wealth and a growth of the consumer debt, which all in all led to economic instability. So really it wasn't that great because it led to a lot of Americans kind of spending their money and not really saving anything. And so when the stock market crashed in 1929, America was left with kind of nothing. And overall, the good kind of shadowed what the bad was, and it led to a really bad distribution overall. And yeah, thank you.